All right, everybody, and we are live. Thanks for joining us for another Monday here on Alternative Money Mondays. My name is Jeremy. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a little software company called Ledgerama. We created the Walla Wallet to support all those awesome HTS tokens like JAM and Dovu and HBARX and USDC, all those cool things out there that are fast and efficient, and of course, HBAR. And I'm joined this week by my man, Tim Mungai, our social media manager. We've got Brandon, the HBAR Bull, my favorite influencer in the HBAR community, bar none. And of course, Caitlin Lance from Creative Coast, where we create, code, and collide here in the low country of coastal Georgia and the surrounding areas. So appreciate everybody joining us. Kind of a quiet week in the HBAR world, but still plenty of news as always. So we'll go ahead and dive right into some of the stuff here. So of course, first on the list was the Google Cloud tweet. So always nice to see some attention coming from Papa Google. It's one of those that, of course, we were all super excited when Google joined the governing council. I think that was that 2019 that they joined, Brandon?
February 11th, 2020.
Okay. All right. So, man, he's got it down to the date.
That's
all
right.
Yep. So I mean, yeah, and of course, interested to see how this goes with all the governing council members. As they meet their terms, right? So I believe they're 3-year terms, limited 3 years, and then they can do up to 2. So of course, really interested to see how that all pans out. But great to see them giving some attention to Hedera officially here via the Twitter. And of course, their customer spotlight. So they provide infrastructure and technologies to Hedera to support the next generation of distributed ledger technology. And full disclaimer, we use them. Walla Wallet, our servers run on Google Cloud. So, so it's one of those, their services are just incredible. I mean, say what you will about, big Google and the data hungry velociraptor that they are, but they provide incredible services at a really incredible price. So I know there's a lot of crypto projects out in the world that would not exist if it wasn't for the cost efficiency and the usability of Google Cloud services. So nice to get some recognition there from Google Cloud. I think probably my favorite, moving on to my favorite news of the week was the HBAR Bull gets his own airship.
That's right.
I love it. That is so cool. So do you have a picture of the HBAR Bull airship handy? Well, maybe
I was not prepared, but I'm sure I can find one. Give me a second.
That's okay, no problem. You can just bring it up whenever you want. And let's see here. I'll make you well, if you can't find it, that's okay. Because
I'll find it. It'll just take a sec.
All right. And Caitlin, would you make Brandon a co-host so he can share it whenever he finds that? That'd be much appreciated. All right. Yeah, so Earthlings is doing some super cool stuff. I mean, this is one of those games that is really capturing the hearts and minds of the Hedera community. They're getting all kinds of attention. So we love seeing the Earthlings team. Of course, the founders cards, my understanding is that the founders cards are all sold out. So if you want to get a founders card, you're going to have to buy it on the secondary markets. And from what I understand, they've gone up quite a bit since they were launched. So just like many things in this ecosystem, things are going in a positive direction. So we appreciate all the work that they do.
Yeah, I had a fantastic interview with them. I am ready if you want me to share my screen right now. It's saying I can't,
sure.
But
hang on, guys. Let me switch out of this.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
But
yeah, sorry.
I mean,
caught you off guard there. Sorry, Caitlin.
That's okay.
I had there we go. Everybody see it?
All right.
So
Look
there's
at that.
the HBAR Bull. It's one of the primary modes of transportation in the Earthlings game. Patrick gave a fantastic interview that I did with him a couple weeks ago. They're graphic designers at heart, and their graphics are absolutely beautiful. So I'm looking forward to this. I know some of their airships, there's different rarities, and apparently the HBAR Bull airship is going to be the most rare type there is, and there's only going to be 15 of them. So we've given out 6 of them so far, 1 to me and 5 to the winners, but I'm sure we're going to be giving out the rest of them here soon. So they, as you can see here, they do some great work. It looks great, and I was excited to be able to announce some winners.
Right. So
yep.
was a giveaway on Twitter, Brandon?
What's that? Yes, Twitter.
The-
So anybody who just put their Twitter handle down in the comments on that interview, I put them into a drawing. We picked out 5. There was a fair amount in there. I don't know. There was probably about 100 people that tried to get them. So but only 5 could win this time. But we'll have another 9 to give away at some point.
All right, very cool. Yep, I'll be entering to win the next one. I missed my opportunity on the founders card, but I'm going to FOMO in on this one. I can guarantee it. Yeah, so great to see Earthlings. I mean, they're, really any of the games that are coming in. I mean, we've got some top-notch stuff coming in, and even the ones that are kind of fun and silly like Slime World. I mean, getting all kinds of attention with the Nada token. I mean, they are really kicking butt, particularly in the Asian regions, South Korea and whatnot. They're really picking up steam. I guess those play to earn games are big. And just picking up steam all the time. So super cool to see that as well. And then so moving on to Saucer Swap. So some big news from Saucer Swap as well. I mean, just another project with a head full of steam. So so Saucer Swap is a DEX built on Hedera, and a decentralized exchange, the DEX there. And got some pretty incredible value locked up there. Do you remember what's the number there? Total value? Yeah, 14 million.
It has over 14 million right now. Since we had a slight pullback in the market, we were over 15 million, but it pulled back a little bit. But I think that the actual amount that's being locked up there is always going up, and the only reason why it dipped back by a few 100,000 was because the market pulled back a little bit. But they are executing flawlessly. They're doing an excellent job. I've been using it, and I've become absolutely addicted. With the low fees and the speed, it makes the experience of DeFi on Hedera like we haven't seen in the crypto space, period. It is fantastic. And even though I think Saucer Swap is going to remain one of the leaders, there's going to be other ones that come out. We have HeliSwap that's going to come out. We have HBAR Suite. I know there's a few DEXs that are still in stealth mode that are going to be coming out. So there's going to be plenty of competition. And if there's that kind of competition with these kind of quality players, the consumer is going to win. The user is going to win.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you come from, I can't imagine coming from out of the Ethereum DEX world, where as we love Ethereum. We're never knocking Ethereum. I mean, we appreciate what the community does. I mean, it's just some incredibly talented folks. But when you go from paying I don't know, between 30 and 80 bucks in gas fees, for swaps, and then you come into the Hedera world where you're paying basically next to nothing. I mean, just the cost efficiency, the speed. There's just nothing like it. So we look forward to seeing people come into the space and getting their hands dirty in these with all the great tokens coming out on Hedera. So check out Saucer Swap. And and of course, as always, none of this is investment advice. We're just folks sharing our opinions on YouTube. But Saucer Swap is pretty sweet and pretty addictive, from what I understand. I haven't jumped in yet, but I will, and I will get there.
I'll be happy to take you down the rabbit hole. We could walk through some of the pages, but I understand you have a full deck today, so we can go through that stuff. Or if you want to go down this rabbit hole, I'll be more than happy to
let's
take
do
us
it. Let's do it. Go for it.
Okay. Sure. Okay. And again, this is not investment advice. This is really risky stuff, but it is a lot of fun. So there's 2 ways you can earn yield using a DEX. You can either provide liquidity or you can farm. And liquidity, if you go over to those 3 little dots right to the right of the middle. Yeah. So this is where you would actually put it in. But I actually want to look at something else. If you go to those 3 little dots and pull up analytics. All right, so this is the tokens, and it shows the liquidity for the day, but scroll down a little bit. Keep going. All right there, if you look at the LP rewards, come up just a little bit. Right there, the LP rewards, that's how much if you provide a liquidity pair. So all you're doing is providing 2 tokens. So you'll see here, you'll have HBAR-X, you'll have SAUCE, you'll have, USDC. USDC right there, you can see toward the top. If you provide a pair, it's equal amounts of each token. That's pretty much, it acts as a market maker. And you can see right now, the LP rewards on USDC HBAR is 37%. So now that's just because we had a fair amount of volume today, and there's only so much liquidity. So we had over $400,000 worth of volume today, and the liquidity in that pair is only just under $1 million. So you get some pretty significant rewards from that. And the LP rewards, how they are generated, is every time you make a trade, it costs 0.3%, and what is it? 5/6 of that go to the liquidity providers. The other 1/6 of that goes to the Saucer Swap Treasury for them to continue to develop and build out the network. But you see, this is where all the LP rewards are. Now, if you go over to your original Saucer Swap page and go to Farm, you actually have to go to that other page. Yeah, there you go. All right, and go to Farm. Now, what they do is they need liquidity in these pools. So, one large trader doesn't push the value of these things around too much. So they want to attract liquidity. And the farm, what they do is they use their native token, which is sauce, to incentivize people to come and use to provide liquidity. And you can see the APR rewards that they're giving out in sauce. And then you also see there's HBAR there, because the HBAR Foundation, in supporting them, the way the HBAR Foundation is supporting them is they're providing some additional rewards in HBAR that you can earn for providing to these yield farms and farming it out. And these numbers you see here are in addition to the LP rewards. So if you saw, 10 or 20 or 30 on the LP rewards, you'll also get this on top of it. This is kind of like a bonus.
My goodness.
Yeah, so it gets really interesting real fast. Now, there are ways to lose, right? So if you're holding two of these tokens and both of the values of the tokens go down, you can lose value there. There's also something called impermanent loss. So if the value of one goes up and the value of another one goes down, you can end up losing more than you would have if you just would have held your original amount of tokens. Now, Whiteboard Crypto does a fantastic job of describing impermanent loss. This is a whole new world, right? So if you're familiar with the traditional financial system, you certainly have a leg up, but you're still learning in a completely new world. They have great educational things on here. They'll tell you exactly how their fees are calculated, how these things are paid out, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, all across the board, they've just done a really good job of executing.
Right. Tons to learn there. I mean, it's one of those that, people, I have people ask me, fairly regularly, to get into DeFi and explain it a little bit. It'll make your head spin.
Yeah.
It's the combination, it's some kind of mad scientist stuff, a combination of, of high-end technology and financial markets. So, of course, user beware. This is real money. This is real digital money value, that you're putting on the line. So of course, be careful with, always be careful with your crypto. But fun stuff, and the rewards are just incredible. I mean, this stuff is hot. So
and these are going to come to. Go ahead.
Do I also see the guys who love Bitcoin catered for? Is this wrapped BTC?
Yeah. So a lot of the tokens, if you see HTS next to any of these tokens, what they did was they transferred them over from the Ethereum network using the Hashport network. They brought them over, and then they're wrapped. And once they're in our ecosystem, they're HTS tokens, and they act like any other HTS token. So you'll see there's wrapped Bitcoin there. There's wrapped ETH. I know they have wrapped Matic, Tether, DAI. You can go down the line. We have all kinds of tokens on here, and this is something that I've kind of realized since I've been playing around with this stuff. Is I think originally, just being a Hedarian, I wanted everything to be native to Hedera. I wanted everything to be originally built on Hedera. And we know that Dovu originally minted on Ethereum, right? It was an ERC20. I think most of those have actually ported over to Hedera. They're going to be mainly using Hedera. And I was a little bit frustrated. I was like, well, why'd they originally mint over there? Why didn't they just wait? But they wanted to get access to that liquidity. They wanted to get, all that kind of stuff. So they did that. But now that I actually see how this works and how it works in practice, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what network it was originally created on. Everything can be ported over, and then it can just act like any other HTS token. So yeah, just incredible to watch.
And that's through the magic of Hashport. So if folks aren't familiar with Hashport out there, You got to check out that team. Of course, we've been good friends and close associates with Jesse over there at Hashport for quite a long time. And those people are doing incredible work out there as well. So, yep, so check out some of the work that Hashport is doing. So moving on to some kind of techie stuff. Unfortunately, my partner was not able to join us today. I was going to have some techs kind of go into a deep dive discussion on this Create 2 opcode, but I did want to touch on it briefly. I won't really get into the weeds on this one, but basically HIP 329, the Hedera Improvement Proposal 329, introduces the ability to use Create 2 opcode on the Hedera network. So this was originally introduced with the Ethereum Improvement Proposal 1014. But so basically what Create 2 opcode does is it enables what they call counterfactual instantiation. So now that's a lot of letters and a lot of syllables. It's kind of $1 million term there. But basically what it is in a nutshell, it's a way for users to engage with the logic of a smart contract without actually deploying the smart contract. So it's something that it's really efficient and can provide a lot of utility on a user experience end. So basically you're able to interact with the smart contract and do all kinds of stuff. Like, let's say, as an example, you wanted to play some kind of game like speed chess or Pong or something, and you don't want to just deploy a smart contract every time a score is made. So you're constantly having to deploy to the network and utilize the network, and which can be a little bit slower. And of course you're getting charged. So this counterfactual instantiation allows you to basically interact with the smart contract, and then only when you decide to, like, essentially, like, if somebody wins, then you deploy the smart contract to the actual network and it all goes through. But each time that a change in the state of the smart contract is made, of course it's recorded within the logic of the smart contract itself, but it's not actually deployed until the two parties agree to it. So you can imagine in the case of something like a game of chess where, if we wanted to put, 50 H bar, basically you would put 50 H bar into a smart contract. I would put 50 H bar into it. We would play and we would execute the logic of the smart contract without actually deploying it to the network. And then once the game was over, it would deploy, and either one of us would win, of course, or if it was a draw, then the money would just be split and we'd go back to, you'd get your 50 and I'd get my 50 back. So opens up a whole world of use cases, essentially by opening up these payment channels for two parties to interact. That's really, in my mind, is really one of the strengths of DLTs and one of the newer strengths. And so it opens up all kinds of cool use cases because you can, like I said, it's just faster, it's more efficient. You can take advantage of these app nets and off-chain, off-chain utility without actually having to interact with the network until you need to. And so, yeah, it opens up all kinds of efficiencies. Really cool to see this coming in. I wish I had our techies to go into a little bit more deep dive, but I'll move on past the Create 2 opcode. But if you are a developer, just something to be aware of. And so other big news in the ecosystem, I really, really liked the interview with Ian Putter of the Standard Bank. So Ian Putter is the newest Hedera Governing Council board member. So he ran and was elected to the board, and so great interview. It was kind of interesting. So he was, I'm not exactly sure where he was, somewhere on the African continent. I believe he was in South Africa, but I could be wrong. But essentially, he kind of was having to do it from the dark. They were having some kind of rolling blackouts to keep a lighter load on the electricity grid. So it was kind of a funny interview because he's just kind of this floating head in the dark. But what a trooper for going through with it and doing the interview anyway. And just really seems like somebody that I'd like to talk to. Maybe we can get him on the show one of these days. But had some great things to say about Standard Bank. So Standard Bank is, of course, we're super proud to have them on the Hedera Governing Council. I mean, that's just one of those that, you may not have heard of Standard Bank in the past. I mean, Standard Bank, what is that? So, but no joke. I mean, we're talking about a bank that has been around for 160 years, employs 49,000 people, serves 20 different African countries, and happens to be the largest lender on the African continent. So when you talk about a big player in the space, Standard Bank is no joke. And so there was a really cool interview. And of course, the things that get us excited, they're talking about use cases. So he said that they're experimenting with Hedera DLT, and they're making good progress with several use cases. But he said 2 or 3 of them will be going live this month, having received regulatory approval. So I can't wait to see what it is that comes out of Standard Bank. Do you have any more news there for us on that front, Brandon?
Well, I know they've done a lot of proof of concept so far. They did a tokenized bond issuance. They also did cross-border payments with what's the Korean or the Singapore
Shinhan?
Shinhan. That's right. Yes. They did a cross-border payments system with that. So they've got their hands in everything, and you can tell when you listen to Ian talk that he's just passionate about Hedera and the possibilities. And nothing has changed from the beginning, because he came out of the gate. I remember when they first joined the council, it was the same way. They were just excited to be involved with the network. They saw the possibility, and now they're actually bringing some of that possibility to fruition. Exciting.
Right. And yeah, and Ian's his credentials are incredible too. You know, I checked him out. I was checking him out on LinkedIn, and it's one of those, you kind of look at his background and you go, oh wow, okay, we're in good hands here. So yeah, so great interview. Love the passion. You know, love to hear the good news.
Well, there's I think about a half a dozen or so board members, and one of the things people have been complaining about is that they're actually paying them. They realize that these board members are going to be putting in, you know, significant work on joining this board, and when you have quality people like Ian that are filling these roles and putting in, who knows, you know, 20, 30 hours a week working on Hedera stuff, of course they need to be compensated for that. That only makes sense. Yeah, when I see some of those critiques, I think they're a little bit unfounded. I can understand why some people get frustrated, but it makes perfect sense when you take a look at the quality of the people that are going to be heading up that board.
Right. I mean, yeah, we're talking MIT, we're talking Oxford, you know, heavy hitters. So yeah, par for the course there. All right, so that's about all of the news that I had from the HBAR world. So we'll go ahead and jump into the Market Mondays. So Brandon, if you would kind of take it away and give us a little glimpse at how the past 7 days have looked.
Sure, not bad at all. So early last week, the crypto markets kind of turned down, but that flipped around on when the inflation report came out, and it came out under the expectations. And of course, that might mean there's some pressure off the Fed to be as aggressive with tightening monetary policy. Bitcoin over the past 7 days is up about 4%. Over the past 24 hours, it's down about 2%. HBAR over the same period of time, past 24 hours, down about 3%, up over about 2% over the past 7 days. So for the most part, flat. It's sitting at about 7.8 cents right now. So there's a few technical things that I'm keeping an eye on. We've talked about a couple times in the past the resistance that I see at that Google spike high all the way back in February of 2020 at about 8.3 cents. And sure enough, a few days ago, we saw it hit up against that 8.3 cents, and it kind of got rejected back down to where we are at about 7.8, 7.9 cents. So again, that's going to be potential resistance that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. As far as support, I know the last time I was on here, I was talking about 6 cents. We've gone up a fair amount since then. So I'm looking at a couple things. There's an uptrend that we've seen since the beginning of July. And right now that trend is sitting at about 7.5 cents. So if that continues to hold, and it's been tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 or 5 times, that's going to be a potential area of support. And that's, of course, rising over time. And then that 50-day moving average, which is sitting at just about 7 cents. That's going to be another potential area of support. That's going to slowly rise, not as fast as that trend that I was talking about before, but again, that's sitting at about 7 cents. And 7 cents has acted as support and resistance depending on which side of that line we've been on. About 2 weeks ago, we tested it and bounced off of it. So everything's looking good there. The other stuff I was going to talk about was saucer swap. So we've already gone through that fairly thoroughly. But if you guys have any questions on any of that stuff, I am open ears.
So Caitlin, were there any questions that might have come in from the YouTube audience? If anybody, of course, if there's any questions out there, we would love to address those.
Not right now.
Okay, nothing coming in. All right. Well, that's, like I said, a little bit of a quiet week. You know, the market's not being too tumultuous, you know, not a lot of drama, no major hacks, or, you know, of course, always be careful with your cryptocurrency out there. Always be diligent. You know, you've got to keep your eyes peeled. You know, never enter your private keys, recovery phrases, you know, watch out for people that pretend to be me or pretend to be Brandon or pretend to be Tim or any of, you know, if you're getting, direct messages, private messages from people on Telegram or Twitter, and just be careful with your cryptocurrency. There's no FDIC in this world.
I will say just a few days ago, they updated the interface for SEDA, and I was doing some arbitrage, right? Playing around with the saucer swap and doing some arbitrage there. And when they did that user interface update, it stopped showing up properly on my computer, and it was acting like I was on mobile. So I didn't know what was going on, and I went onto their site or their Telegram channel, and I said, "Hey, is anybody experiencing this?" And immediately I got something from Stater support, right?
Mhm.
And it was actually a scammer. I figured it out pretty darn quick that something was off. As soon as they said, "You should probably erase that that message on the main channel, and we'll just deal with it here," I thought that was a little bit strange. They asked me for my account number. And I was like, there's no way you should, even though public account numbers, it's not as dangerous to give that out, but it is one of the things you need to recover, right? Recover a wallet. So it's that, and then your personal phrase. So I try not to give that out if on any of my personal wallets if possible.
Right.
So I said, absolutely not. I'm not going to give that out. And then the next thing they did was post a link I needed to go to.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, early on, I knew there was an issue there. And all it was the way that user interface was, you just needed to zoom out. I had it zoomed in because I was grabbing screenshots for the videos I do normally on YouTube, and I had it zoomed in, and it didn't like that. So I zoomed out, and it was just fine. And I passed that information on to a few other people that were having that issue, and that's all it was. So, of course, when you start seeing stuff like that, hey, what's your account number? Even if it's your private or your public account number, or, hey, click on this link, just get out of there. It has nothing to do with it. There's plenty of legitimate support out there. But that said, there's also a lot of people that are trying to scam. I'm sorry, Tim, were you trying to say something there? I was rambling.
Yeah. I was just thinking how sad it is that these guys are using their talents in a bad way. I mean, this mostly, I noticed this on a Walla Walla Telegram group. Immediately somebody new joins in. Most of the times they immediately texted privately, and this person is trying to figure out things about him. Now, I'm wondering if we were in this good world, a paradise where people would be so quick to help you, but in a genuinely good way, not to try to steal from you. But anyways, we're not in that world as of yet, but still, we've got to keep our eyes open. And mostly the legitimate guys never go to talk to you on privately on private text message. We just want to help you publicly, so that when somebody else comes in and they have a similar problem, they can just scroll up and look at the other solution.
Yeah, and when people will reach out to me via direct message, actual legitimate users and customers that are having some kind of issue. I always try to direct them back to the main channel, so we're not discussing, so the tendency, for if they're legitimate, they're probably going to be trying to get you to talk in the public channel, because it's kind of the direct, the direct message, private message space is just kind of icky. So, we try and keep it in the public channel, not only for the benefit of the user, but for the benefit of other users as well, who want to come in and they might have the same problem. That's typically the case. If one person is having a problem, other folks are having issues with it as well. So we'll go ahead and close up by getting into my favorite part of the show. Tim, I'm going to let you announce the winner this week. So every week, every Monday on Alternative Money Mondays, we're giving away 10,000 JAM tokens. This is my favorite part. We get in these HTS tokens into people's hands so they can see just how fast and efficient they are. And plus, they're just so many cool use cases. I want to give a quick shout out and a thanks to Andrew Antar and the folks over at Tune.fm for giving us these awesome JAM tokens to give to our users. So who we got this week, Tim?
Right. So as always, we have we always announce our winners on Twitter. And before I announce him or her, we have King Crypto 1337 is our winner. And always we have to thank you guys for always supporting us on Twitter. I mean, once we post anything, we get a lot of support, a lot of retweets, a lot of likes. So Thank you so much. And King Crypto 1337, we shall be reaching out to you via Twitter.
Awesome. Yeah, we appreciate everybody's support out there. It's super important to us. Tim, you're doing an awesome job. I can't thank you enough for all the work you do for us. So, give us a hand, support us. And in the same vein there, if you like the content that you're getting here, please don't forget to give us a like, hit that subscribe button. And even more importantly than any of that, in my opinion, is leave in the comments. We do this every week. We bring you the latest and the greatest in the HBAR news. But let us know what content it is that you want to see out there. What's valuable to you? Do you want to hear more about DeFi? Do you want to hear more about governing council? Do you want to hear more about the tech? You just let us know what you want to talk about and we'll bring it up. So again, we appreciate everybody being here. This has been an awesome episode of Alternative Money Mondays. I can't thank you guys enough. Tim, Brandon, the HBAR Bull, Caitlin from Creative Coast, and of course, I'm Jeremy Fletcher from Ledgerama and Walla Wallet. We're signing off for this week, and we'll see you again next week on Alternative Money Mondays. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.